Remembering a Giant by Tessa Bishop Hoggard, written in the Bourbon County Citizen, Thursday, February 17th, 2022. Some years ago, a giant walked briskly through the streets of Bourbon County, Kentucky, profoundly touching the hearts of everyone he met. He was not some mythical character of one's imagination, but a real life giant, standing 5'2" tall, weighing under 120 pounds. Though small of stature, his loving and indomitable spirit cast a giant shadow wherever he traveled to serve, preach, and teach. Many greeted him fondly as Reverend Moore, others, Brother Moore. However, his legal name was Isaiah Henri Harrison Moore. In the book, I Remember Brother Moore, authors Tibbs and Norma Maxey write, his mother named him Isaiah for God's Old Testament prophet in hopes that he too would be God's messenger, a gospel preacher. That hope became a reality, for he preached his first sermon at the age of 13. Brother Moore undoubtedly was also influenced by his father, a fourth-generation preacher who had walked many weary miles to preach, with his children tagging along behind. An article about Brother Moore in the Christian Standard, dated about 1964, states that Dr. Isaiah Moore still bustles about the streets of Paris, Kentucky, a little man in pinstripe pants, neat white vest, and black coat. He hurries along the street on foot, taking communion to the sick and doing his church duties. He teaches many Bible classes for youngsters. As the children danced down the streets of Hamlin to the Pied Piper's sweet tune, so they followed Brother Moore, who charms them with Bible stories and songs. He is beloved by the children, marries the young, and buries the old. As a man, Isaiah chose to be a non-denominational servant of Christ. On his World War II draft registration card dated April 1942, he listed his employer as Christian Colored Church or Church of Christ, Paris. He became a minister of the Paris Christian Church following Pastor Stafford Campbell, who died in August 1942. Brother Moore served the parish church for over 20 years. He was much in demand in Kentucky and many other states as a powerful speaker and preacher. During his lifetime, it is estimated that he baptized 4,000 people, Black and white, in not only Kentucky, but also in Tennessee, Mississippi, Kansas, West Virginia, Missouri, Alabama, Ohio, North Carolina, Indiana, Florida, Texas, and Illinois. Under the layers of the Moore, he was born May 12, 1880, to Henri and Amanda Moore in Greene County, Tennessee, in the northeast portion of the state. His siblings included Thomas Alexander, Mary Magdalene, and the youngest, Rufus Abraham. Unfortunately, the four children were orphaned when both parents died within a year of each other, and they were taken to the county poorhouse by a neighbor. Isaiah was about 4 years old. The children suffered from cold, hunger, shabby clothing, hard chores, and little education. After a year in the poorhouse, an uncle, John DeVault, took in Isaiah and his sister, Mary. His two brothers were taken to other homes, but all siblings were united 15 years later. According to the Maxeys, Brother Moore said of his uncle, "He led me by the hand from the poorhouse to the pulpit." His uncle taught him how to go by the scriptures. Thus, Isaiah strove hard to be a master of the Bible. Since there were a few places where African Americans could further study for the ministry, Brother Moore took mostly correspondence courses. He later attended the College of the Scriptures in Louisville, where he was awarded a bachelor's and doctor's degree in theology and an honorary doctor of sacred literature degree in 1961. Tibbs Maxey was president of the school, which Maxey founded in 1945 for the training of African-American ministers and missionaries. Brother Moore eventually became one of its instructors and dean. He taught at the college during the week and served as pastor of the 7th Street Christian Church in Paris on the weekends. While ministering in Paris, Brother Moore held the distinguished honor of being elected the first African-American president of Bourbon County Ministerial Association in 1957. He was also the first African-American student at the Cincinnati Bible Seminary, but granddaughter Peggy Slaughter Arthur points out that Papa had to sit in the hall. Arthur, an 87-year-old resident of Louisville, is Brother Moore's first grandchild and now the matriarch of the Moore family. In 1908, he married Elizabeth Irvin in Louisville. To their union, 13 children were born, 7 daughters and 6 sons. Sadly, 1 daughter and all 6 sons died before reaching their 21st birthday, according to Moore's granddaughter. Elizabeth died in 1948. Brother Moore learned to live with his sorrow and poured his grief into mentoring and training young men to preach. He later married Vester Whitehead, also a graduate of the College of Scriptures. On the night of December 6, 1971, Isaiah Moore was traveling near Lebanon, Indiana, to preach a funeral. It was about 10 o'clock at night. There was heavy fog and rain. The vehicle in which he was traveling with 4 young men, including 3 grandsons, were involved in the 3-vehicle crash. The young men survived. Dr. Moore did not. He was 91 years old. Though his life ended tragically, his legacy lives through his descendants today. His great-grandson, Ja'Cory Arthur, became the youngest elected official to the Louisville Metro Council when he was sworn in on January 4, 2021. Arthur is also a professor at Simmons College of Kentucky and an award-winning teacher, musician, and activist from the West End of Louisville. Another great-grandson, Dr. Kevin M. Foster, is the acting chair of the African and African Diaspora Studies at the University of Texas at Austin and a trustee on the Austin School Board. Foster is also the executive producer of PBS Black Academics Television and the director of the Rather Prize in Education. Brother Moore would be proud of the leaders his descendants have become. Great-grandson Hashem Jabbar has posted blogs to keep his great-grandfather's memory alive. He shared a little-known fact that Brother Moore was a lay herbalist and picked herbs to heal himself and his family. Brother Moore will be remembered for his humility, faith, prayers, and knowledge of the scriptures. A Bible verse he frequently quoted, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold and pictures of silver." Proverbs 25:11. Yes, a giant once walked among us, eloquently speaking golden words in settings of silver. This article, Remembering a Giant, from the Bourbon County Citizen, Thursday, February 17th, 2022, by Tessa Bishop Hoggard for the Citizen.